Revived ideas from old movies just for nostalgia's sake has been one of Hollywood's recurring issues lately, with studios churning out movies that are only here to be seen as sequels that are not needed, throwing in cameos just to build up a surrounding hype, and thus releasing movies that lack originality, with the most recent blockbusters examples being Jurassic World Dominion and Top Gun Maverick. So, what do they have in common? They are both legacy sequels that were made to be seen as a casual cash grab. Despite this label it had on both of them, both succeeded financially, but only one succeeded in capturing audiences' hearts. So, how exactly can one make a legacy sequel? Hi, Nafs here. Today, I want to pinpoint how these two movies differentiate from each other in creating a memorable movie experience that exceeds expectations. So, what does a legacy sequel set out to do in the first place? It existed to pay homage to the original film while being able to tell a story of its own. Like The Matrix Resurrection, it created a much fresher take on the original movie and added its own spice to the story by reflecting on the idea of IP movie making, creating an intriguing yet familiar ride for audience. Although it had received controversial reviews, it was a great legacy sequel that did what it set out to be. From here, we can have two standpoints to look at whether a legacy sequel is done right. The first standpoint being how it pays homage to its original story. Let's start with Jurassic World. In the latest reiteration of the original story, they brought back the old gang for one last ride, with the likes of Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum coming back to reprise their roles from the first ever Jurassic Park. Well, that is paying homage, right? Not exactly. They brought them back for no reason at all, but just as a nostalgic pill without actually using the characters right. The movie neglected the latter half of the Jurassic Park trilogy, as it seems like none of them had gotten any of their respective characters' development, while adding in little reminders of the old one by reusing little to no use props to tell the audience, remember that can, it is in the first movie. But that's all it did to make you remember this is an offspring of the original movie without actually paying homage. On the other hand, Top Gun Maverick did everything on all the right terms by paying homage to its original through its much more tied-in story with the aftermath of the first one. This helps create this bond between the two movies by bringing Goose's son, Miles Teller's character, to tie the two movies together while not relying only on nostalgic search to remind the audience that the two stories are related. We also get to meet with the Maverick, who is years after the first movie, which have actually been affected by what happened in the first film, bringing characters like Iceman back to tell how time has taken a toll on them and reflects on the idea of legacy itself. By giving such intricate details to this growing narrative, this legacy sequel felt deserved while creating something that pays respect to the first one. The second standpoint is while being a sequel, it needs to earn the title of legacy by having a story that is worth telling. Let's start with Top Gun this time. The original movie was a massive hit due to its 80s vibe together with its American prowess. Don't get me wrong, this movie still has all of that, but the story builds on how the original ended, but putting it against the test of time. It reflects the idea of being the ones who were flushed by time, resonating with how the old ways of driving jets or making movies are no longer validated with future technologies. The cast and crew puts all of themselves into making this movie as real as possible to showcase how a movie should be made. At the same time, it pays respect to the last of the real ones out there who are still putting everything into this industry. Without this emotional core, the movie would not have received such high praise from critics and audiences. The film succeeded in capturing audiences' hearts with flying colors, repackaging this idea of getting old with Maverick to celebrate everything that is cinema. While Top Gun Maverick tells an original yet uplifting story, Jurassic World did everything in the opposite way. We get dragged throughout the movie with characters that are bland and one-sided, with the plot just being a rendition of the second and third Jurassic Park, of discussing whether or not humans can adapt in living with dinosaurs without diving into its deeper issues, while adding your typical evil corporate tech guy who is in every sci-fi movie nowadays to top off the script. One thing that you gotta give them points for being original is how they chose the crisis to not even be dinosaurs in a dinosaur movie, but locust. Yup, locust. Without that out-of-the-box thinking, it is a movie without any story to tell, but just a mess to wrap up the trilogy and get the money and dip. I'm still in shock at how boring and unoriginal this movie is. The story had nothing new to add to dinosaurs and human, how life finds its way, and how must we adapt, but just a mindless cash grab that they succeeded in doing without actually making something new. In the end, legacy sequels are titles that need to be earned. With these two prime examples in the contrast of how to approach it, I hope studios will pay more attention in not reviving old ideas just for nostalgia's sake, but adding new ideas and themes to build on its original film. However, with studios still making money with these kind of pointless cash grab, more and more unnecessary formulated sequels will still come out that lack originality. With this video coming to an end, I hope you have understood more about how to or not to make a legacy sequel. Go watch the movies yourself and form your own opinion. Like and share this video and subscribe for more. See you soon.